to everyone. And we start by expressing our gratitude, gratefulness to Mother Universe and to anyone and everyone to whom we are grateful for making us who we are. With respect, with folded hands. Thank you. Short healing or relaxation of mind and body. I hope it is audible. Take a deep breath. Every time a deep breath is taken, the exhalations make it a little longer. Relax your head. Relax your waist and shoulders. Relax your forehead, top of the eyebrows. Your eyes. Your nostrils, your lips, your cheeks. See if there is any sensations on your face. Relax your lips. Let the relaxation flow to your chest and to your hands. Bring the calmness in you. Notice the frequency of breath reducing. Relax your stomach, abdomen, your waist and hips. Relax your thighs, your knees, your calf muscles. Shin bone, your ankles and heels. Let the relaxation flow to the top of your foot, to the sole of your feet, and to your fingers, to the toes. Feel the relaxation in your body and focus at the back of your body now. Focus at the back of your shoulders. Relax the back of your shoulders. You want to move a bit? Do that. Take another deep breath. And let the relaxation flow to the top of your hips, relaxing the muscles around your spine. Wonderful. Feel the touch of your hands that you have kept on your legs. and do a feel out micro hit. Wonderful. Thank you. And as I stop the music and stop sharing, please come back to your awareness. Listen to the external sounds. And be aware of the environment. Thank you. Good. So thank you, Aloknanda and Debashish, for joining in. I will be sharing the recordings, but the interactions, if more people join, that would be good. However, since this is a very, very intense topic, at least for discussion, and it would reveal a lot of things, a lot of myths about happiness, a lot of thoughts about happiness will be clarified in this discussion. And this discussion, I can assure you, is one of the most elaborate discussions on happiness that can happen. There will be a second part also. So in the first part, I will be discussing, in this session, I will be discussing what is happiness, first of all, and how do you understand, or how do you make yourself happy? Is happiness just, comes on its own? Does it need effort? How do we work on happiness? So first of all, let me start with the definition of happiness, which says emotional state characterized by joy. This is the dictionary definition, right? By joy, satisfaction, contentment, fulfillment, involving positive emotions and life satisfaction. This is what happiness is all about. Let me also give you a perspective of what used to happen in the earlier cycle, with the earlier psychologists and scientists used to do. Earlier, psychology as a subject was primarily for healing people, as a healing process for people who had depression, who had anxiety, who had negative feelings. So psychology was treated used to treat them. But then came Martin Seligman. Martin Seligman in the 70s or late 70s or 80s, he brought in a concept of positive psychology, wherein he said, no, it is not only for reducing, healing anxious people or reducing fear, reducing depression, but it also helps people. If you practice a particular process, then you can make people happy. And let psychology now work towards advancement of well-being, keeping mental health. Just like we go to the gym, we do several activities to keep ourselves physically fit, we eat healthy foods. Let us also work out on what is important for keeping people happy, or keeping people in a positive mental well-being. What happened was that then the research started as to what should people do to become happy or to remain happy. Let me also take a stance of thinking or assuming that people are already happy, right? And they want to be more happier. What needs to be done? Then he brought in the concept of PERMA, PERMA, positive emotions, engagement, positive relations, meaning of life, accomplishments in life, PERMA. At that point of time, in defense also during the World War II, studies were done as to why military planes, those come down, why they come down. Then a thought process came, why should we only study the planes which come down? There are planes which stay up also. So let us study them. Let us study them, how they stay up. Similarly, The psychologists, they started studying, a group of psychologists, they're scientists, I would say, human scientists. They started studying how do people become happy, the people who are happy, how they remain happy or how they become happy, and then started these studies. And there are different studies, millions of dollars is being spent to study this. So, of course, one of the most important thing, if you ask any people what you want to be, at the end of the day, they will say, I want to be happy. So happiness, I would say, is one of the most important pursuit of human beings. They pursue. If they pursue something, if you ask them what you are pursuing, what is the end result that you are working for or studying for, they would say it's happiness, right? So let us also understand how people become happy. And the entire session that I would be taking today is taken from certain studies, which I will be sharing at the end of the 3 parts. So, first of all, is it possible to become happier? Is it possible to become happier? Let us understand. And Aloknanda, since you are the only person, and Devashish would be joining, and I suppose, so you can, if you ask questions, that would be helpful for the session.
Yes, Parthoda. It is না সত্যি সত্যি আমরা যদি চাই we can be more happy. Maybe we are happy at the moment, but it can always be taken to the superlative. We can be the happiest also. But how?
Yes. So first of all, let us understand how important is happiness to us. How important is happiness? Now, important of happiness, this is a study which has been done in different countries. And if you say Greece, Australia, Argentina, primarily these people, there was a rating of, what is the importance of happiness was done on a rating of 7. And on this rating of 7, the study that was done in different countries, it was seen that US, Australia, and Argentina, right, they really want to be happy. I mean, Greece was almost the highest with about 6.8, US with about 6.6, Argentina with about 6.7, 6.6. There was Australia, which was around 6.5. Germany and China, however, recorded a slight. They came to around 6. So that is also very high, that people wanted to be happy. So everyone wants to be happy. If you ask in a classroom, when I take sessions, I ask people, how happy you want to be, whether you want to be happy or not, or rather, how many of you want to be happy, right? They all raise their hands, right? So everyone wants to be happy. But this is the most least, right? I would say importance is given to our daily lives by most of people who are there, by most of us who are there. And yes, Bhutan is the happiest country. That is because primarily this study was not done in Bhutan. So Alaknanda, you are correct. So there it is GDH. GDP is gross domestic prosperity. Prosperity means happiness. And there government interventions are being done to make people more happy. So gross domestic, instead of GDP, gross domestic product, there it is done as gross domestic happiness, and that is being worked on. And Finland is also being treated as one of the most happy countries, right? Officially, though, yes, scientists are doing study on Bhutan, Finland. Finland, there is a very interesting thing. They believe in companionship, right? Companionship, and they also have their houses, when they build, they have common compounds, so they can all gather there and do. So there are different, welcome to that. So how important is happiness to us is, yes, they are happy. Okay. Now, there are studies which are done on happiness. And this study, of course, this is on a particular university or a particular study. 225 studies on the benefits of happiness was done. And why happiness is important, this is being elaborated in this particular slide. So if you see, there is a saying that money makes people more happy. There is a reverse side to flip side to it also. Happy people make more money. Why? There is a reason for that. So elaborate again. Researches have been done in workplace. Researches have been done at domestic, with domestic individuals who do not go out of the house, who are housewives or homemakers or work in the house, domestic workers. Study has been done on industrial workers. Study has been done on workplaces. It has been seen that happy people are more productive at work and more creative. There is a research on that. There are researches on this also. And everything that you are seeing are research based. It is not at all, it is, I would say it is not at all a theory which is there. They are all practiced and researched in laboratories. They make more money and have superior jobs. So, of course, I'm talking of a segments, right? I'm talking of segments. A particular education is definitely required. A particular standard is definitely required for a particular job. But when they move into that particular job, and similar people are more happier, right, than people who are not very happy. They're better leaders and negotiators, are more likely to marry and to have fulfilling marriages and less likely to divorce, have more friends and social support, have stronger immune systems. Again, stronger immune systems is the studied. There is a study which I will be showing to you. Are more helpful and philanthropic, and so more resilience to stress and trauma. So if there is a stress, don't they suffer from stress? Yes, they suffer from stress. Don't they suffer from trauma? Of course they suffer from trauma. However, the resilience is higher. They spring back. They spring back. Right? So why to become happy? This is what the reasons of why to become happy. If you are happy, you lead a more, I would say, a life of peace, a life of enjoyment, a life of prosperity. Okay. Now, this is a study. So when I was sharing this with one of my friends, he said, it is, you have suffered so many ailments, I mean, right, diseases and ailments, and you are hospitalized. So are you happy? I said, I don't know, but I think I have come back very fast also from each of these. So when I say it's a suffering, I don't say I have suffered. Probably I say I have recovered. So words are also important, right? So I have suffered from fever and I recovered from fever. There are two different aspects. What is there in your mind at the here and now is also very important. And if you see this, people who are happy at one point in time, at a particular time, right, have a lower incidence of stroke 6 years later and heart disease 10 and 15 years later. So we can actually extrapolate the study to future. If people are happier at a particular time, then they are less likely, or I should say in the positive sense, they're more likely to remain healthy. If you have heart disease, they're more likely to survive more time than people who are not happy. If people had lung cancer, and these are all research based, they're more likely to survive 3 years later. Are less likely to be receiving work disability. So this is a US study. So you will see work disability. So people who are happier, they remain in work for a longer time. A very, very interesting study was done, and it was seen that they're less likely to die in a car accident 8 years later. So this was extrapolated. Now, why car accidents? So drivers, right? People who drive cars, people who, manage vehicles, or they take the vehicles from one place to another, basically drivers. If they are happy, they are less prone to accidents because they're more cautious. They are more, happiness brings in more concern for others, more empathy for others, and hence they are more concentrating on what they are doing. And for car driving. And they're less likely to die of all causes up to 28 years later. Now, if you see, what is the purpose of this slide? The purpose of this slide is that happiness brings in, makes a person healthy. One apple a day will keep you away from the doctor. Being happy also will make you more healthy. You can actually make a quote like that, right? So in the last, we understood what are the benefits of happiness, and now we are understanding why how physical health is being affected by happiness. And we will come to it. How to become happy will come to it, but it is very important to understand first why it is important to be happy. Now, this is a study. This is a study which I said that immune systems are more stronger in happy people. So there were two types of people who were selected. One is the control group. There were, first what was done was, they were given a study and they were assessed people on a happiness scale. What was the scale of happiness that was studied? And on this control group, there was another group where no study was done, and it was just kept. They were just kept like that. No study was done, and they were just kept like that. And there was a group wherein this happiness study was done. And then what people did was they administered through the nostrils by nasal drops a rhinovirus, a cold flu virus, in each of these people. These people were quarantined for 5 days and they were monitored for a month. Amazing results came out. Happier volunteers were less likely to develop a cold. Isn't it fascinating? I mean, the immune system, so the body responds to the happiness also. The body responds to the happiness also. Isn't it amazing? So if you see, there are people who are, we say, happy-go-lucky. Now, happy-go-lucky people, there is a saying that, nothing will make them stressed. So people become stressed. There is no people who does not become stressed, but they are more resilient. And you see the body also becomes more resilient. Again, this is a research which was done, and this was done mostly on male people, average of 45 years, 17 years of job. After the happiness was assessed, again through happiness scales, 3.5 years later, when the supervisors were asked to rate these people, 3.5 years. So mind, every study, they are not being done immediately. The research is extrapolated to the future. And these future results are then seen and research is being done on them. So people were assessed on happiness, right? 3.5 years later, the researchers, the scientists, they approach the department managers to rate them on overall work performance. And the results was the happier employees were rated by the supervisors as superior on all dimensions. On all dimensions. So there's a direct correlation between happiness and performance. Between happiness and performance, right? So there is a direct correlation with health. There is a direct correlation with work performance. There is direct correlation of how you are more productive, how you are more efficient in your job or effective in your jobs, right? Another research. So there were doctors, right? There were doctors who were taken, who were made the, in the laboratory, they were assessed, they were induced transient. So this research is to understand whether short-term happiness, if they are induced, does it affect a person? So there are studies, Bob Fredrickson, this gentleman, and there is also, I think the name of the lady is, she is also Fredrickson, Barry Fredrickson. Now she did a study on transient short-term happy moments, if they affect work or culture or their performance, or they become more creative. So here some doctors were taken and some dieters were also taken. Dieters means people who on diet, they restrict their food intake, right? They were also taken. So positive short-term induced happiness was brought in. A test was given on creativity. So the test was 3 words were given to them and they were asked to make up the 4th word, right? So in this case, in the creativity, say crab, sauce, pine. What is the 4th? On the basis of the 4th word that was chosen by them and mentioned by them, the research was done whether it is more creative than the others. And it was found those in a happy mood at that point of time were more creative than those who are in a neutral mood. And what was done? Chocolates wrapped in cellophane was shown to them. It was not given to them for eating. It was just shown to them. Looking at the chocolates wrapped in cellophane, they were transparent, right? So they could see the chocolates. Looking at the chocolates, the happy mood was induced, right? And they were given a test of creativity, and those who were happier were more creative. So what is this showing? This is showing that happiness, it has a long-term result, it has a short-term result also, right? So there are more than enough studies to work on it. Again, there is a study. Now this is a study on children. But till now, let me stop sharing for a moment. Any questions? Isn't it interesting? Isn't it fascinating of how happiness can really affect all of us? And I will show it affects children as much as in adults. Now in the school curriculums, if you see in the current school curriculums, you ask the teachers what you want your students to become. They will say more successful, more happier. If you ask the parents, what is the end thing that you want your children to be when they grow up? What is that you want them to become in life? What will they say? They will say, we want them to be happy at the end of the day, right? But in the school curriculums, are we working towards that? That's a question to the academicians, to the school teachers. What are we striving for? So there are a lot of activities which are done in many of the countries. I saw a video the other day in Japan. So they do drama, right? They do drama, role plays and functions. So they actually make the children, enact the role of philanthropy and empathy and kindness. It is amazing. And if they do the role plays, it also works in their brain and makes them more happy and more empathetic towards people. Right? So this is where I was coming to now. Let me see this. Let me share with you the study which happened with children. In Vancouver, the study took place where the subjects, there were 415 subjects, child of 4th, 5th and 6th grade, they were taken as the subjects of the research. 48.2% were girl childs. The mean age was 10.61, right? So this Vancouver school district in Vancouver, they were taken 19 classrooms in 11 schools were taken. The mean classroom participation was 80.6. 10 classrooms, they did 8 weeks of acts of kindness. Acts of kindness means they were told that you need to do 4 weeks acts of kindness. And I will just come to this. So you have to mention, the children have to mention what are the 3 acts of kindness they did. So this is an example. One child wrote that I vacuumed the floor. So she cleaned her house, cleaned the dining table. She helped her mother to do it. And hugging my mom when she's stressed by her, not having time. She was hectic schedule. So when her mom was stressed with her hectic schedule, she went and hugged her mom. 3 works of kindness. And 9 classrooms did 4 weeks of neutral control, whereabouts you do whatever you want. You know what the results were? Amazing. Amazing. The children who did the acts of kindness at home, not even at school, and when they came back to their classrooms, right, when they came back to the classrooms, they became more acceptable to their peers. They became more acceptable to their classroom, in their classrooms. So another activity was done wherein children of the classroom, they were asked to pick up their peers for a particular activity. They have to pick up someone, choose someone for a particular activity. And the children who did this act of kindness were selected more by them than those children who just did whereabout activities. So the other children did not know that they did this act of kindness, and what made them more acceptable. So the research showed that acts of kindness actually change people's behavior on a long-term perspective. They make them more acceptable to society because of their behavior. So they might become kind. What they are doing at home, if this is coming in their mind, they become more social. They might be sharing the tiffins more with the other people, and they were also more acceptable. So when we say that, and it all depends, of course, it depends on the families, and we will come to that, and we will come to that here also. But see how amazing these results are. Now, what determines happiness? This pie chart explains it all, and let me share with you that there's very good news for all of us. There's very good news for all of us that we can actually become happy by our own hard work and effort. So this particular study, now this is a very approximate study. 50 might be 39 in some cases, 50 might be 45 in some cases, but the main point of discussion over here is that genetics play a very, very important role in happiness. Genetics play a major role in happiness, and that is what builds up the set point of happiness. Now, what is set point of happiness? Let me first share this. Set point of happiness is, say for example, I buy a house. How will we feel? Very happy. However, the researchers saw that this happiness only lasts for a very short period. Short period means a very definite period. So they also studied, buying a house, getting a dog at home, getting married, and various other activities. Say, for example, in a marriage, the happiness, the state of that exuberance, joy, right? It primarily stays for 2 to 2.5 years. If you buy a house or get some material or get a promotion or get some money, right? It stays there for less than a year. So researches were done on people who had won lotteries, jackpots. Lotteries, right? They were more lucky people. So when they received the money, they were happy. However, after 6 or 7 years, their state of happiness was the same as the people who did not win a lottery. So material aspects of it come back to the set, a set point. In obesity, in weight also, there is a set point. You will see some people absolutely slim and good figure, even if they eat a lot, right? If they sit at home, eat a lot, that is the set point of weight. And some people gain weight, and it is very difficult for them to become slim, even if they go to gym or what. After they stop gymming, again they go back to that weight. So the set point of weight is there. Similarly, set point of happiness is there. All of us have set point of happiness. Some have it more, some have it less. That depends on genetics primarily, on your mother and father, on your grandfather and grandmother, and their fathers and grandmothers, right? So genetics actually set up the set point of happiness in all of us. We all have set point of happiness. So some, after buying a house, they keep on repeating, make additions in the house. That is important. Repetitions of Doing joyful activities is also important. There are very, very amazing studies. So we'll come to that. I will get into that slowly. But if you see this pie chart, what does this pie chart mean to you? So while genetics might play a very, very important role as far as set point is happiness is concerned, if you see 40% is dependent on what we do, the intentional activities of ours. Means, what are the intentional activities? We'll come to that also. Research has been done on that also. But that we will get into part 2. I will just touch upon it in the first session today. In the part 2, on 18th, I will be discussing that in details. And we will see what activities we need to do. Right? So while genetics play a major role in setting up the set point of happiness, we can actually make efforts, like we make efforts in building up a house, right? We make efforts in the classroom. We make efforts in going for a traveling somewhere. Same way, if we make efforts in becoming more happy, intentional activities, right? That is about 40%. Again, let's not get into the 40%. Study is plays a major role, and only 10% is life circumstances. Because life circumstances also, in most cases, there are some people who, when sad, keep ruminating, right? They keep chewing the cud. So for them, it's an exception. There are people who are more depressed or more anxious. That is there. But this also depends on the set point of happiness, life circumstances. So you will find there is a mishap in the house, there is a loss in the family. There are some people who actually spring back, who actually come back and do the, into the normal life. So this is a very, very important study. In fact, if you ask me, this is one of the most important aspects of the study of happiness. That while set point of happiness is there for all of us, intentional activities can make us more happier. And life circumstances, if we do this intentional activities, life circumstances will play a very small role, right? I will just touch upon something called hedonic adaptation, right? Hedonic adaptation means that you might be having a positive or a negative effect or event in your life. However, this positive and negative effect on the life, which affects the emotions and the state of happiness, it does not stay forever. People adapt to that situation. Human beings especially have amazing sensory, physiological, and psychological strength to adapt to a particular environment. That is why what happens was, if we get into a new house, a 3-bedroomed house, after a couple of years, right, we would like to get into a new place, buy a new house, or paint the house, or make additions in the house, because that happiness comes back to the set point of happiness. And of course, social comparison is one of the main reasons of what makes the people unhappy also in some cases. Oh, he has a 4-bedroomed house, or he has an Audi. However, I have a Creta. I'm not very happy, you know. So people who are jealous of others, people who does not want others to succeed, or their failures make them happy, they get into sadness and depression faster than people who actually enjoy other people's happiness and success. Right? Again, these are amazing studies, but this pie chart, if you have to remember whatever I said, I will be sharing in this session, this one pie chart should be the basis of everything that we will learn we will be sharing in the 3 parts. So if I see now,
sir,
yes, madam.
Will you elaborate on intentional activity? What kind of?
Yes, I'll come to that. Give me a minute. So here we come. What Kakuli madam was saying, what is intentional activities? I'll come. This is thus in the next slide. So what are the happiness increasing strategies? Right? There are a couple of them over here. I think there are about 7 of them, 11 of them there here. And in the next session, I will be sharing 12 activities also. Now here you see, the first one is expressing gratitude and appreciation. Practicing acts of kindness. Coping well with adversity. Nurturing like you nurture a plant or a tree or your child, nurturing optimistic thinking. Learning to forgive, it's a learning process. Please look at the words which are being used here. Savoring the moment, enjoying the moment, investing in relationships, calling up a person, old friend, relative, committing to significant life goals. So if you see Martin Seligman, in the Parma, he mentioned P as purpose, right? So committing to significant life goal is the purpose of life. What is the purpose? Say, for example, for myself, right? My purpose is very simple. My purpose is to heal people, transform people. And for that, I need to do more studies. And when I do more study with that purpose, I feel more happy. Practicing your religion. The religion is not Islam, Hindu, Christian. It can be humanity also. Going spiritual. What is spiritual? Swami Ranganath Ji of Ramakrishna Mission, he mentioned that what is spirituality? Spirituality is when you close your eyes. So I saw this and I really liked it. I saw this in a video in a speech of Swami Sarvapriyananda, and he said, if you close your eyes, you are at peace. If you open your eyes, you are giving. That is the purpose. So if you're external, you will have internal peace. External means if you give externally. So expressing gratitude to someone else, practicing of kindness to someone else, coping well with adversity is okay. Nurturing optimistic thinking, internal. Learning to forgive, external. Savoring the moment, internal. Investing in relationships, external. Committing to significant life goals. What is the purpose? Internal and external. Practicing your religion. Let us talk of spirituality, internal. Meditating regularly and engaging in physical activity or exercise. Now, even in meditation, let me share with you another interesting, I'll come to that, yeah. Dosage is very important. What is your dosage of meditation? What is your dosage of gratitude or kindness? That you have to find out, because they are different for different people. And there's a study on that also, right? There's a study on that also. So any questions on this increasing? Yeah. So 6 weeks of dosages. Now this is very interesting. I found it very interesting. So there were people who were made 6 weeks count your blessings intervention. So what happened was when this control group for the 6 weeks, they were made to be more gratitude. People who practiced gratitude once a week, their happiness was more than people who practiced it thrice a week. And those who practiced it once a week or thrice a week, their happiness was more than people who did not practice gratitude. So while gratitude brings in a change in happiness, right? You will see the second one showing the extent of gratitude, how it helps, where my cursor is moving. So this is the group which made once a week gratitude. This was thrice a week. This was not gratitude. So some people, now you will say, Arey, more gratitude should bring in more happiness. What could happen is, when you show more gratitude, studies showed that sometimes people find it little overwhelming in practicing it. They forget. So when they forget, there is guilt. Sometimes, say for example, you write gratitude journal every day. How many people can write gratitude journal every day? Right? Some people write gratitude journal, the set point of happiness might be different. And when they write, their dosage is right for them. But people who write regular gratitude journals might not be happy. They should know the dosages. So the acts of kindness, the control study, research study, which we did was once a day, 3 acts of kindness. So here also gratitude once a day, maybe to 5 people, to 3 people, you show your gratitude. It depends. It depends. Now, there are many people who join this mindfulness session who do not. Because to many of them, if I join it regularly, it becomes a stressful. So they might not be joining. They said, I will be joining only on Sundays. Maybe winter mornings are very difficult. So the dosage of them is difficult. That joining this might become, make them more stressful. In fact, country-wise also, gratitude and kindness brings in different results. I will show that to you also. So we are aware now of the importance of dosages also. The moment a person feels stressed in doing an act of kindness, that has a reverse effect. Oh, okay, I have to do it regularly, right? Okay. Sometimes, technical glitches happen and I have to, that's okay. Yeah. Now, when you do, so Kakuli madam brought in a very important point. What are intentional activities? Now, I showed the activities. I'll discuss it in details in the second part. That which activity you will choose. There is a test for that also. I will be sharing it in the second part. So, which activity is good for you, you need to understand. For many, gratitude works very well. For many, gratitude does not work. Kindness works. However, sense of gratitude brings in immediate happiness. But what will be the dosage and whether you will do it regularly? That depends on the person's intrinsic values and the practice which you are doing. So this fit is actually whether your personal intrinsic values, beliefs, your personality, your goals, whether they're fitting with the activity. So when you write, see here, fit is critical. It is personal activity, whether it's fit for you for increasing happiness. So the activity must fit with your personality, goals, strengths, your culture. Culture is very important. In Korea, there's a irritation. In Korea and USA, the culture is different, and we will see how it makes a difference. So every time now I will have to move out and change the screen. So till here, is it interesting? Do you find it interesting? Do you find this study or this sharing interesting? Can I have a feedback from you?
Yes, sir, that's definitely interesting.
Okay. Thank you, Alaknanda, for responding. So here, the importance of social support. The people who with more social support, they are more happy. So of course, social support comes with more relationships. The more relationships you build, the better you are acquainted with them, the higher is the social support from them and the more happiness. Motivation. So people who are motivated remain happy even after 6 months of follow-up. So the people who are motivated immediately and those who are not motivated, the people who are motivated, this follow-up remains, the touch-up remains even after 6 months. So if you motivate a person, say example, I motivate a employee of mine, I motivate a friend of mine to do something. If I see after 6 months, I do a follow-up with him, you will find that he might tell you, you remember, sir, or remember, Partho, you motivated me to do this, and it really worked. Their happiness level brings there. So that is there. Now let's look into this. This was again another controlled study which was done. Now it was, we did a study. So this study was done by a particular group of scientists, and they found how important was it to the people of a particular country on their effect on well-being. So the yellow one was gratitude, and the red one or the brown was kindness. In USA, both gave positive results. Kindness and gratitude meant more well-being. However, in South Korea, while kindness increased well-being, gratitude reduced well-being. So gratitude, so when the researchers went into the depth of it, they found in South Korea, the rules are very stringent, right? They're very stringent. And if you see, their way of life is much more regulated. And they found that if I show gratitude to a person, that's culturally there in South Korea, is that if I show more gratitude to a person, I will be more obligated to him, and I will have to give him something back, right? Instead of that gratitude, I will have to, it's a barter. They were thinking of a barter, more gratitude, more giving, more stress. So gratitude actually reduced the thought of well-being in South Korea. So culturally, that also, these acts, these activities, they have an effect on well-being. Finally, coming to how important this effort is very important. Intentional activities are very important. Regularly wanting to make yourself happy is very important. Those who are giving efforts, their well-being standards, units, right, that is being measured through these happiness scale is very high. High efforts, high happiness. Medium efforts, medium happiness. Low efforts, decrease in well-being and happiness. Right? So intentional activities are very important, but you need to know the dosage and you need to know whether it fits with you. Now, in the second part, which we'll have on 18th, we'll do an elaborate understanding of what activity we need to do. And I will be giving those forms to you, sharing those with you. You can find out yourself between 18th and 25th or 24th, whenever we have the session, right? Which one fits you more and what is the dosage? And what is your subjective happiness scale at that point of time? And how do we work on it? That we will understand. But I just shared the research studies which was there. This is being compiled from 3-4 studies from Martin Seligman, from Sonia Lyubomirsky. That's how Musky. So Sonia and Richard Davidson and University of Pennsylvania. And it is fascinating. What we are in for, what is the most wanted. So what we discussed today is the most wanted element in the world, happiness. If you are happy, so what do we say? Shukher che shanti beshi in Bengali, right? Happiness is more important than prosperity or whatever. So money makes more people more happy. Now you learned today and you knew today that happiness helps people make more money in whatever profession they are, because they are more productive. Okay, so I will end here. And of course, this will be in YouTube. And I wanted this to be a majorly a study or something which people can go through and understand. so that they can refer to it at any point of time. And I can assure you the second and third part will be very interesting for all of us. The studies which are there, the efforts which have been put by the scientists, they're amazing. They are amazing. So, and one more information is from tomorrow till Saturday, we will not have the morning sessions, as I will be traveling to Fort Kochi for a 5 days intense workshop on Gestalt. This is, I know I've completed my Gestalt practitioners. This is Gestalt masters, which would help me to heal people, to know myself better, to know others better. And it brings changes in the person knowing Gestalt, because the theories are elaborate, and I'm definite. I can promise you I'll share it in the month of January, my learnings, so that all of us can be benefited. So if there's any question, any thoughts on this session, please share it. But again, as I said, that a lot of efforts I will be putting in these 3 sessions, and I hope that it will benefit all of us. So over to you, if you have anything to share. Otherwise, we will close the session. Yes, open for maybe for 2 minutes or whatever. Any thoughts? Kakuli Madam, Alaknanda, Devashish.
The last slide, comparison between Korea and USA, I found that very interesting. Because, generally we think that giving or practicing gratitude would bring in happiness. But yes, depends so much on the culture of any country, right? Yes.
Yes. Yes, Alaknanda. It's a path-breaking study. It's a path-breaking study.
Yeah, so
Great.
Partho,
Yes, Devashish.
yeah, taking on from what Alaknanda said, I was just thinking the same thing, that the happiness index, it's a very, looks like it's a very generalized index, that if you do this probably it will bring happiness. But there are, I mean, happiness could be different in different cultures and could be different to a person also, right? What I will be happy with, which could be a function of my genetics or whatever, right? But there is an element of, so you got to understand yourself and your happiness factors, which is probably very important, right? So that's what I wanted to mention, and probably it is there in your next sessions, right?
Yes,
And
yes, it will be there, and it will be there. And here I wanted to use more presentations, but that
right.
will be more discussions and more activity. So between the second and third, those who are joining, I can assure you that you will be knowing what is the subjective happiness scale of yours. You will also be knowing what are the activities which are suited for you, right? Because see, Devashish, we are all aware what are the activities, but it's in the subconscious. So when you study that, when you tick mark on something, your subconscious actually answers, your conscious does not answer. You might be, and it comes to your consciousness, you become aware and you tick that because you think, right? So happiness is something which can be created by everyone. It does not depend on money. It does not depend on status. So one more study I will share and then we will end. A study was done on industrial and houses, and it was seen that the owners, the managing director of the owner's happiness scale in some cases was lower than their employees. Right?
Because the owners were stressed out?
There were different reasons for that. It could be that they hedonic adaptation, you remember I just said. So when they get into that stress, they might not be prepared for it. They might be prepared for it. They got used to it. Right?
No,
more money means responsibility could be there.
Yeah, so it could be even very simple factors like, the owner will have very high expectations. And if the expectations don't meet, he goes into constant trip. Whereas a simple employee will have simple, small expectations, which he can meet easily, probably. So meeting expectations and happiness also has a relationship, right?
Absolutely.
Either we live without expectation, which is what the Hindu year says, right? That no expectation, okay, phale rasha corona, right? Or if you have the fall, then have small bits of, thing and live with your expectations. So the big owners and the buffets of the world, they are that much stressed because their expectations are very high.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Also variety. We'll talk of variety in the next session. Just imagine you walking into a reception or a event and you see the food table. Some people are very happy with just one. Oh, it's good that there is only one item. There are many items and they have to choose from. So it depends on whether you want variety or not. Right? So we'll come to that. We'll involve sports in that. We'll involve our life in that. So thank you so much. Thank you for being there, Devashish, Kakuli Madam and Alaknanda. And I hope those who are watching this video would be benefited from it. So till next Sunday, Om Shanti. Let this week be the happiest week for you.